Long way to the November elections a year from now. David Mercer, president at Mercer and Associates, and a Democratic strategist joins us, along with former deputy assistant to George W. Bush and a Republican strategist, Brad Blakeman. Brad, are voters starting to consider that the calm demeanor, that cooler demeanor that Ben Carson is putting forth is more attractive right at this point? Not forever, we don't know, but more attractive right now than what Donald Trump has offered so far?
Sure. I think the American people, and especially Republican voters, have seen Donald Trump's act before, and they've seen it many times, and now it's getting a little old. And what comes up must go down, and we're seeing that in the polls. And with the rise of Dr. Carson, be careful what you wish for, because now, as the front runner, you become the target of everybody else. In addition, you now have to build the infrastructure necessary in order to build a campaign that is able to get out the vote and popularize your voting, which then determines whether you win or lose at the polls. So we're a long way away, but he really needs to concentrate now not only on raising money, but infrastructure.
Exactly. So there are a lot of big questions. When you say infrastructure, David, what Brad means is he's got to put a system in place for his campaign in every single state in America. That has yet to bear out. But right now, there was news that, for example, Donald Trump sent Marco Rubio, who tends to drink a lot of water when he's on the campaign trail, he sent him a 24-pack of ice water and 2 Wake Up America Make America Great towels. I'm just wondering if there's a saturation point where that kind of humor is losing its appeal with the American people.
I think it is, and just as any dramatic series on TV or sitcom, it gets old after a while, and you get frustrated or bored after watching repeats. And I think that's why you see the numbers that you posted earlier with regard to the polls. And I think still this race is very fluid, and it could be somebody else in the lead come next week. We've already seen 2 drop out. The question is, now that it's 2 weeks since we saw the last dropout by Walker, is who's next? I do think that Ben Carson, the big question is, can he hold on to what lead he has now? Because it keeps changing. And in addition, going to what Brad said, can he translate poll numbers into actual caucus votes of support and primary votes? That's the ultimate question, because this is a war to accrue delegates. That's it. Not on how high you are in the polls, but how many delegates do you have at the end of it going into the Republican convention?
Well, this all could change if Joe Biden jumps into the race. Today, Brad, I don't know if you watched Cavuto. I'll smack you around if you didn't, because it's a great show right here on Fox Business every single day. But he had a donor who has defected to Joe Biden's camp now, even though Joe Biden has not announced. And there's a Politico story. Politico's been out front in a lot of breaking news regarding Joe Biden. Yesterday they were saying that he may announce this weekend. Now it's, he was the one who tipped off the New York Times that it was his son who, on his deathbed, said Joe should run. What do you think of all that's happening around Joe Biden?
Well, I think Joe Biden is seeing what's there to be seen, and that is that Hillary's coronation isn't going as planned. She is under a lot of liability criminally if, in fact, the FBI were to come back and do a referral to the Justice Department based on her emails and classified information.
That's a big if. We don't know yet, but yes.
That's right, but it's hanging over her head, and we're seeing her tank in the polls, and there are 2 polls that are inescapable, and that is trust and likability. She is absolutely in the tank on both. You never get to policy unless you're liked and trusted by the voters. So Biden sees opportunity, and he'd be crazy not to jump in this race, and to the detriment of Bernie Sanders, because I think once he gets in, it'll be Joe Biden who the attention goes to.
David, does Hillary Clinton become any more likable with this new ad that she's put out? And it is a very tough ad. It is really taking aim at potential Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. And she's, in essence, attacking him and Republicans about the Benghazi investigation, saying it was totally politically motivated. That's a hard edge there. I don't know if likability adds to that. What do you think?
Well, I don't think she's attacking Kevin McCarthy. I think she is just putting on display what Kevin McCarthy did in his frank honesty, finally, in telling on the Hannity show that this isn't about getting to the bottom of Benghazi. It's about attacking Hillary Clinton and bringing down her poll numbers so that she is more defeatable or beatable, if you will, by Republicans, whoever they choose as their nominee. point blank, period, the end. That's what Kevin McCarthy revealed as the charge of the Benghazi committee at the expense of $4.5 million taxpayer dollars instead of in the interest of the American people and finding out and getting to the bottom after 8 investigations or committees in the Benghazi incident.
Well, the good news is we're in the news business and you're in the answer business, so you guys are both going to be back a lot between now and a year from now. Thank you so much. David Mercer, Mercer & Associates, and Brad, good to see you. Brad Blakeman, Republican strategist.